what you got. Oh, I can't see tomorrow. Gotta live, try to get a little wiggle room, the rest don't stop. Quid pro quo, I need the best y'all got. Tryna make a dollar, flip it like it's vinyl. Tryna make a way. What's it worth to you if the price too high? Quid pro quo, I need the best y'all got. Give me a best. Don't say nothing less, cause I'm giving you 100. How you always leaving me with nothing? I'm not impressed. It's gonna take more than this, cause I'm giving you 100. And I don't even know if I can trust you for nothing.
Well, what's happening? Good morning. My name's Aaron Dwyer. I'm just sorry I was a little bit delayed in getting on here, but we are here. I am fighting some camera issues this morning, so hopefully this is all going to turn out roses. And but man, good morning. Welcome to Tuesday. We are in July. It's July the 2nd, and if you know much about me, when it gets to July, I'm already warning you guys that Christmas is right around the corner. And before you know it, it will be Christmas. As you can see, my background has changed. I'm coming to you from Middle Tennessee. And as many of you may know, or if you don't know, because this is the first time you've ever watched this show, I'm a huge hockey fan. So shout out to Barry Trotz and the Nashville Predators for absolutely killing it yesterday. And bringing Steven Stamkos, number 91, one of my kids' favorite players, to Nashville. So that was pretty cool. That was a good day. Good day to be a Nashville Predators fan. Yesterday and probably this year be fun. Be a lot of fun. So good morning and welcome to Tuesday, July the 2nd. My name's Aaron Dwyer, and if you don't know me, I am a real estate broker. I am also a coach, and I guess you could say I'm still a team leader for the collective. And but I'm also this morning call that I do just about every week. It's usually 3-4 days a week. Every week, been doing this ongoing for 2 years or so, with a little bit of break in between. Was in response to some ideas that we had with our agents to try to keep them connected, try to remind them they're in the real estate business, try to remind them that that they have the ability, because here's what I believe, truly, y'all, this is what I believe. I try to remind them that they have the ability to affect the outcome of their day, because so many of us, especially in the real estate business, we let the day control us. And I guess probably in life, a lot of us, you don't have to be in the real estate business, but entrepreneurs typically face this more than others, I would guess. But I guess we all, to some degree, fall into the trap of letting our circumstances in our day dictate what we do. We let our circumstances dictate how our life goes. So one of the reasons for this call was, I believe that if we got up every morning, I'm a big proponent of a morning routine. The brain loves routine, right? The brain loves to be in routine. The human brain typically responds very, very positively to having a routine. So I have a really strict morning routine. And I believe that if we could set the focus for the day with a morning routine, with a morning call, and y'all, I take it easy in the summertime, and I'll let you sleep a little bit later, because once we get into fall, I really want this call to be before everybody else gets up. I want this call to be, I want you to hear these words before you start getting pulled at and pecked at by spouses and kids and dogs and everybody else. That's why I love my morning routine, because it's time when nobody else is awake. So this morning's call was, again, it is. I believe that if you set your intention on having a good day through a strong morning routine, the possibility of you creating a good day goes up exponentially. And if you can string enough good days together, man, you can have a good life. I'm telling you, if you can string enough days together and take control over what your days do to you, and flip that instead to what you do to your day, you can create a pretty fantastic life. So I do this every morning. If you're watching this later, thanks for watching. But if you are up with me this morning, I love it when you tell me, when you let me know you're here. So a simple good morning, hey, good morning. Typically it shows up in the comments. So if you'll just comment good morning, let me know you're here, that would be super cool. So here we go. We are talking through, this will take 20 minutes or so just hang with me. But what we've been talking about over the last few weeks. Good morning, Shanna. Hope you guys had a great vacation. I saw some of your pictures from vacation, and hope that was fantastic. I know going to the beach is always a mind clearing experience for most women. Most dads don't have that, because most dads are working their tails off, carrying chairs and coolers and pulling wagons that weigh entirely too much across sand. So hats off to your husband, because I know he's probably really happy to be back from his vacation. I'm teasing. No, I'm not teasing. Actually, it's pretty grueling to be a dad on a beach vacation. But I digress. So we've been talking the last few weeks. If this is your first call, we've been that you've just joined us today, or you're going to watch this, and it's the first time you've watched this. But we've been talking the last few weeks. Started with kind of the catalyst for this was I just finished Atomic Habits. At the same time, I'm reading some stuff by Fred Reichfield with the NPS system and the Ultimate Question 2.0, Winning on Purpose. So I'm a fairly avid reader. It's part of my morning routine that I make sure I read books every single morning, because success leaves clues, and typically those clues for the really successful people, they put those in books. It's a fantastic way to get smart, right? That's why your teachers and parents encouraged you to read when you were little. And I never was a big reader, but I'm a big reader now because I created that habit. So that's pretty cool. But we've been talking about that was the catalyst for Atomic Habits was the catalyst for kind of this conversation that we can create different habits. We can eliminate, we can create good habits. We can eliminate bad habits if we create for ourselves a strong enough hook, a strong enough cue, a strong enough thing on down the road or out there in the ethers that we could attach to, that our behaviors and all the wins that have changed and all the things that happen to us between the time we decide to either create a good habit or eliminate a bad habit, all the things that happen between that decision and actually creating the habit, there's a whole lot of stuff that happens in the middle of that. There are winds and waves and change and disappointment and encouragement and stubbing your toe and hitting your finger with a hammer and really good things and seeing some light at the end of the tunnel and finding some encouragement and finding some positive pieces in that. But at the end of the day, we have to have something to attach to, because the picture I have in my head is that we're anchored here to where we're going, and then everything from here to the anchor is doing this. But if you're still anchored at the end, this part can swing back and forth either way. But as long as you're anchored, you're okay. As long as you're anchored and attached to something at the end, you're okay. And so that catalyst, that beginning of this conversation then went into the five stages of achievement, if I could talk, that Alex Hormozi talks about. If you don't know who Alex Hormozi is, you ought to look him up on Instagram. He's a pretty big motivational guy. He's accomplished some pretty cool things, and he talks about the 5 stages of achievement And so today we're going to talk about the third stage of achievement. We've talked about um, uninformed optimism, and then we've talked about informed pessimism. So if you remember, as we start to achieve something, as we go in this process of beginning at an unknown, trying to go to an anchor point, trying to change something, trying to achieve something, and it may not be anything grand, y'all. It may just be something that you need to lose some weight, get in better shape. You need to eat a little more. You need or eat a little healthier. You need to cut out sugar. You need to quit smoking. You need to call more clients on a daily basis. You need to door knock more. You need to follow up better. You need to get a coach. You need to, whatever it is, there's some achievement out there, something you're not doing currently that you need to do. Okay. So I don't want you to feel like that this word achievement, because a lot of us, especially me, when I hear the word achievement, it is usually attached to something big and grand. But maybe it's not something big and grand. Maybe you don't have those goals in your life. Maybe doing something big and grand is not what you're programmed to do. But I will tell you right now, I believe that is a conditioned excuse response by our ego to keep us from disappointing ourselves. I believe if you've talked yourself out of big stuff, if you've talked yourself out of doing big things, if you've talked yourself out of having impact in the world around you, I believe that's your ego response. I believe that is something that we do, that we're conditioned to do so that we don't disappoint ourselves. Because, and I meant to mention this earlier and I didn't, I truly believe that every single person born on this planet is born with a special birthright, something that is uniquely theirs to impact the world around them. I believe that every single one of you, every single one of me, every single one of us, we are born with this birthright, this thing that our creator endowed in our guts, that is way deep down inside for most of us, because we have all these layers. We have all these layers of the onion that have calloused over the years, and we've been conditioned to think differently. We've been conditioned to think selfishly. We've been conditioned or put in situations where we get in survival mode, and all of our focus turns inward, and we are so concerned with how we're going to survive that we certainly can't think about how we're going to help anybody else. And y'all, I can't. I wish I could say I was perfect in that regard, but I'm not. I feel I do the same thing, but I do believe that we all have this huge impact. And so I think my role on this planet is to help you. I think my role on this planet is to have conversations like this to spark something inside of you, and or to unleash or unlock or to awaken something that's dormant inside of you. And I want to be the one who is the gas on your spark, because it's in there somewhere, and you know it is. You feel it from time to time. You may not feel it as often as you used to. You may have repressed that deep down inside because, again, you don't want to fail. You don't want to disappoint someone. You don't want to and it's usually us. It's usually us, because there's a little thing on your shoulder, a little person on your shoulder who's he's always or she's always playing devil's advocate. If you did something right, they're going to tell you it's not good enough. If you did something bad, they're going to tell you that you should have done something different. They're never satisfied. But that voice has gotten so much louder. The older you get, the louder that voice gets, and the more that voice talks you out of being your highest and best self. So let me get to where we are today. So we've talked about the 5 stages of achievement. We've been through the first stages, which were uninformed optimism, which is we are childlike in our expectation. We have no idea what's coming. We just know we can get there. We have no idea what challenges are in front of us. We just know we want this outcome. We want to achieve this thing. That's uninformed optimism. And then the second stage is informed pessimism. We've done just enough to get information. We've done just enough to see all the dead carcasses on our journey. We've done just enough to now be discouraged. And so now we have informed pessimism. We've learned just enough information to lose all of our optimism. We've gathered just enough information to now create a new belief system that we're not going to be able to make it. The third stage that I think a lot of us find ourselves in out of this informed pessimism stage, because we typically in informed pessimism, you keep going. But the third stage, and the title of this today is Though I Walk Through the Valley of, and most of you can, if you've been raised in church or you are religious at all in the Christian tradition, if I say, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and stop there, you'll finish that. Because in my mind, I just finished that. I shall fear no evil, right? But you're not actually in the valley of death. The fear is not from death itself. It's from the shadow of death. It's from the hint of death. It's from the possibility. It is not reality. It's just a shadow. It's just a what's the dark around the sun? It is just a dark spot on a sunny day. It's just a shadow of death. So maybe death is looming. Maybe, but it ain't, it's not actually, you're not actually dying. It's just a shadow. It's just a hint. It's just enough of discouragement to make you afraid. And what Alex Hermosi says, he calls it the valley of despair. So stage one is uninformed optimism. Stage two is informed pessimism. Stage three is the valley of despair. How many of you have found yourself in the valley of despair? You have set off on a mission. You got your real estate license. You started your new business. You got married. You started a new job. You did whatever. You started driving toward the beach, and it's all exciting. Man, this sucks. When am I going to get there? And then all of a sudden, there's traffic. I've got my real estate license. I'm excited to join a company. Oh, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. I've not made any money in 18 months. The valley of despair. And so you're in this valley of despair. You were super excited on this peak because you just did something, but you know the really big peak is on the other side, and that's the one that you have to get to. So you have gravity and momentum helping you down one side of the mountain, and you're pretty excited, but then you start to see it starts to change a little bit. You may have slipped on a rock or two on your way down. You might have scraped your knee on the way down, busted your shin on the way down, and now you're in the valley of despair. And typically in that situation, your perspective has changed, has it not? When you're in the valley, your view has changed, has it not? Because when you're on, I'll never forget this. We were in Toronto when I first met Christy, my wife. We were in Toronto, Canada. We're walking downtown and we see the Space Needle out in the distance. And we're in downtown Toronto. We've been to the Hockey Hall of Fame, and we're with a group of people, and we're kind of walking around and doing stuff. And of course, the Space Needle is something that you can almost see from anywhere in downtown Toronto. And she's like, let's walk to the Space Needle. And I'm like, that looks like that could be a long way away. But because the Space Needle's so big, what she kept saying was, it's right there. It's just right there. And the reason I bring that up is when you're on this peak of the mountain and the valleys between you and the next peak that you got to get to that's a little bit higher, it's just right there. It doesn't look that high. It's right there. You're on this peak. You see the next peak that's a little bit bigger, and your perspective is it's just right there. It's easy. But the only way to get there is to walk down the mountain that you're on, walk into the valley, and now your perspective changes. And now that next peak looks so much bigger. That next mountain looks so much bigger. It looks nearly impossible. You look back to where you came from and you look to where you got to go, and it looks so daunting. And so we sit in this valley. We sit in this valley of despair wondering, how are we going to muster the energy again to get up this next peak? How are we going to do this again to climb this next mountain? And I'll tell you this right now, y'all, if you're in the valley of despair, if you're in this place in your life where you know there's something you got to do, there's something you have to achieve, there's more in your tank, and you're sitting in this valley and you're wondering, how in the hell am I going to get up this next mountain? This is scientifically proven. Did you know? Y'all give me just 1 second. Did you know? Scientifically, they have proven this. If you climb a mountain with a buddy, the peak doesn't look as tall. Just having a climbing buddy with you, having a group of people around you, it reduces perceptively, it reduces the height of the peak. It's some like 20% lower. If you're 15, 10%, I don't know the number. I can make up statistics on the spot, and who knows if it would be true. But I've got a guy that I think I've mentioned him before that climbs mountains, and if you're climbing with someone, it makes the peak lower perceptively. And so if your perception is the peak's not as high, if you have somebody with you helping you out of this valley of despair, that's the only way to do it. And that's why I do what I do, y'all. That's why I think I am on this planet, is to help people get out of these valleys of despair. If you don't have a swim buddy, if you don't have a coach, if you don't have someone who can encourage you, who can walk beside you, who can be a different voice than the voice you hear that sits on your shoulder, that's in your ear all day, every day, you need a different voice. And if you don't have that different voice, I would like to offer my voice to be your different voice. Because if we are together or in the valley and we look at the next peak that you have to climb, we can together make that not look as daunting. So I want to talk a little bit more about this, because I'm running out of time, but let's I'll keep going just for a little bit, 4 more minutes. When you're in the valley, and you know there's another mountain that you have to climb, there's another peak that you have to get to, there's another waypoint you have to go past, there is something else up there that you have to achieve. You want to see that next summit. When it's time for you to get to the next summit, you just got to start walking. But so many of us, when we come down the mountain and we find ourselves in the valley and it feels dark, it feels cold, it feels lonely, there are different sounds, there are animals now in the woods, there are things all around us that could come out and get us. When you're in this valley, I want to encourage you just to take a step. Just do something today. If you recognize this third stage, if you recognize there's something in your life where you're in this third stage, because who knows, you could be a fantastic parent, a fantastic person, a wonderful human being, and doing some really cool things, but there's a part of your life where you're in the valley. Maybe it's in your business, or maybe your business is fantastic, but you're in the valley in your personal relationship. Maybe you're doing pretty good in your personal relationship, or your relationship with your spouse, or maybe your business, but your relationship with your kids may be in the valley. Maybe there's something in your life that you're in the valley. You're wondering, how in the world am I going to get this better? How in the world can I get to the next summit? How can I achieve that thing out there that I wanted to achieve? How do I stop smoking? How can I start calling more? How can I, whatever it is. When you find yourself in this valley of despair, I want to encourage you just to keep walking, just to take the next step. Maybe it's calling me. Maybe it's calling your best friend. Maybe it's hiring a coach like me to help you in this, to set some systems in place, to give you the path to walk up the mountain. Because guess what? The guys who start at the bottom of Everest, they have a Sherpa, they have a guide, they have a coach, someone who's been up the mountain before, someone who can recognize the changes in the wind, someone who can recognize which direction the snow's blowing from. And all those things are important along the journey. Seemingly inconsequential things that can cause life or death when those folks are climbing up Mount Everest. So again, if you find yourself in this valley, if you find yourself in this third stage and you feel like you're kind of stuck in an area of your life, I'm going to encourage you to keep walking. Just take one step, and maybe that's calling somebody to help you. Maybe that's reading a book. Maybe that's taking a walk. Maybe that's whatever it is. I don't know what it is for you. But just understand, there are 5 stages of achievement. And when you find yourself in the valley of despair, there are 2 more stages to get where you're going. And as long as you keep walking through the valley, as long as you take the next step and the next step, as long as you crawl 12 more inches, walk one more foot, as long as you keep progressing in the direction of the summit and the direction of your dream, in the direction of the achievement, guys, as long as you keep walking, the valley will soon go away. You will find yourself out of the valley, looking back with the sun on your face. So my encouragement to you today is just keep walking. My encouragement to you today is just keep going. Find you someone who will walk with you hand in hand, who will lock arms with you, who will help encourage you along the way, who will help push you and motivate you, who will hold you accountable to what you say you want, who will help remind you of what it is you want, who will be there for you when that little voice gets too loud. You need somebody to smack that thing off your shoulder and say, that's not what you're going to listen to. This is what you're going to listen to. All right. In the morning, we're going to talk about the fourth stage. The fourth stage is informed optimism. The sun's on our face. We're climbing up the next mountain, the side of the mountain. We are on the journey to our achievement. We're going to talk about informed optimism tomorrow, out of the valley of despair, talking about informed optimism and how that's going to affect your life. Y'all, have a great Tuesday. It's July the 2nd. If you're not getting after it, y'all get after it. If you're not putting your best effort forward, you need to do that today. Hey, right now is a perfect day to start. Right now is a perfect day to begin. Right now, this moment is a perfect day to do it. If you're not giving your best in every area of your life, today's a great day to start taking a step toward that direction or in that direction. Today's a great day to start giving your best to the people who deserve your best. All right, guys, I love y'all. Thanks for being here. If you're watching this later, thanks for watching. Be good, be great, be you, and have a fantastic Tuesday. Bye, y'all.